Hi everyone, Luca here, one of the Door 43 health and wellbeing practitioners. So just a quick recap, today's videos are about returning to school and looking after your physical and emotional well-being. So my first tip with regards to that is, if you are experiencing anxiety about returning to school, the first step to do is acknowledge it. In consideration of the year that we've had up to this point, some anxiety is totally legitimate and normal. And with that, remember, you're not alone. A lot of, if not all of your peers will be experiencing some level of concern about returning to school. Another tip, empower yourself. If you're feeling anxious about returning to school, consider what can you do to help yourself to feel safer, okay? These will be specific to your individual concerns, but to share a few things that could be relevant. A practical step you could take is to get in touch with your school and ask if they've prepared any videos or fact sheets or letters about what changes you can expect. These might explain the changes to the school and what you might be doing differently. If your school haven't got anything prepared, you can easily find some things yourself online. I'll be putting a few links in our link tree to some good resources for how to return back to school and feel safe about it. The link to our link tree is in our Instagram bio. Another step to look after your emotional well-being could be to talk to a friend or family member about how you're feeling about returning to school. If that's not an option, remember that Door 43 are here to chat on Wellbeing Wednesday, 11 till 4. Whilst some concern is totally legitimate about returning to school, take some time to think about the positives. Ask yourself, what am I looking forward to about school? It might be that really sound teacher, it might be seeing your mates, it might be the excitement of making new ones. Or another question you could ask yourself to maybe reframe how you're thinking about going back to school is, how might you feel after the first day back at school once the initial pressure of day one is off? How will you feel after your first week back at school? Again, this is something that I would totally encourage you to talk about with a friend and see how each other are feeling. It can be quite nice to know that other people are feeling similarly to how you are, or even offer some helpful advice. I'm really big on experiential learning, and I would encourage you to consider the challenges that you've overcome during this weird time that we've all faced and are still facing. Maybe there is a specific fear around COVID that you had to overcome as lockdown was eased. You could consider, how did you feel before you met up with some friends in the park for the first time? How did you feel during that, and how did you feel after? How did you feel the second time you went to go and see some friends in the park? Is there anything you learned about yourself and how you respond to anxiety and fear that could help you to relieve some of the pressure that you might be facing about returning to school? Another practical thing you could do, if when you go to school you're not happy or you think that school could be safer, let the school know. Talk to your teacher. Although there is a funny power dynamic in school with pupils and teachers, a good teacher will take on board the suggestions that you have, or at the very least they'll discuss the concerns that you might have with. And if you've done all this, if you've done everything that I've mentioned today, it is probably a good time to do something else, okay? Thinking about problems can be really helpful if we're finding solutions. But if all we're doing is worrying for the sake of it, then there's definitely going to be a lot of better ways to be spending your time. I appreciate that's easier said than done, but there is. Maybe it would be a good time to leave the rolling news coverage of COVID stuff and instead go and chat with a friend, a family member, take a dog for a walk, play a computer game, pick up a musical instrument. There's a whole host of things that you could do that aren't spending your time worrying. So I hope that today's videos have been of some use. I've popped a link to a couple of resources in our link tree, and remember, we're here on Wednesdays to chat if you need it. Take care everyone, see you next time.